Hey everybody, what's going on? This is Jamie Dawn. I am your professional psychic advisor, success coach, evolutionary, revolutionary astrologer, and I'm bringing you this video for the week of April 11th. And we've got some planetary movement going on, the big talk of the town, if you will, for this coming week. We still have Venus, even though she's moved into her shadow, she will be trining Mars. So this sexy little cosmic pair will be speaking very flirtatiously and quite looking at it from maybe a bigger picture. There could be a lot of friendly conversations and canoodling that is going to be happening. And as they are trining each other, this is a very harmonious aspect. And so relationships and friendships and conversations and I know we're doing the social distancing, but those of you who are coupled or dating, you can still canoodle if you allow yourselves to. And I believe also that as Mercury is now in Aries, and I would say Mercury has laced up its tennis shoes, and I would even venture to say running versus jogging through the sign of Aries, because this tricky little planet will not stay in Aries for very long. It'll move into Taurus at the end of the month. So it's not really going to be in Aries that long. But this week in particular, Mercury will be sextiling Venus and Mars, which I believe we can start to see some facts come out. We can start to see that maybe the headlines and the news will start to present a little bit more truth. There may be some pioneering of information that comes out, people speaking up, being a little more fearless about what kind of information we're giving to each other, as well as even the opportunities to connect in a very bold way. So I talk very often about certain energies pushing us, if you will, to have conversations that maybe we have been backing off or holding off when having, which when Mercury was in Pisces, that was probably appropriate, simply because not everything was what it appears to be. So with Mercury now in the sextile to Venus and Mars this week in particular, there may be quite a push. There may be this fearlessness in the conversations or the words that we have, so that now we're going to say, I think I'm ready to declare my love, or I'm ready to tell somebody how much they mean to me, or show my great appreciation for the way that things are happening. For instance, it was just a few days ago and Mercury had just moved into Aries, and I'd gone on a walk and I was really, having something working me inside, and this whisper of a voice all of a sudden seemed to get louder and louder. And the faster I walked, the louder this voice seemed to get. And it said, you've got to say something. Even if nothing changes, even if the outcome didn't result in anything that I wanted, it was important for me to at least speak into the circle and say, this is what I'm feeling very passionate about. And so I did. I went back, I fired off an email, done. No attachment. Didn't matter if, like I say, if the outcome happened or not, but it was important for my integrity to be able to speak to what was up for me. And the person on the receiving end was very gracious and responded so graciously. And it was just it felt good to be able to have that kind of interaction. And I was able to release what I would feel like a burden if I hadn't said something. And so we may continue in that kind of energy this week in particular, because this sextiling of Mercury is going to bring us a little bit of that push feeling. There's going to be some effort that we put into it, but it can pay off. And it can result in us, if nothing else, feeling that we are at least in our integrity, or we've at least released whatever needed to be put out there. And I do want to remind us that we're not responsible for how somebody receives the information, because people receive information through their own filters. You watch these videos, we have sessions, information flows, and I'm responsible as the messenger of watching my interior state, of choosing the words and the way that my energy comes towards you, and the way that I deliver the information and my intention and integrity. That's what matters. And how you receive this, it's based on where you're at, how deeply you might be listening, what space, headspace you're in at that time. I don't know how many of you have done this, but this week, I believe it's going to set us up to revisit certain conversations in our head, or maybe we have a conversation with somebody and it's the same subject matter. And for whatever reason, say a week or 2 weeks ago when you had the conversation, you weren't in the right headspace. There was too much going on, or you were processing your own stuff or whatever. So whatever that person may have said to you, there could have been resistance, or it could have brought up some sort of something to be healed, or it very well could have just landed like a brick on your heart, you know? And so this week, when you revisit that subject matter, or you have a conversation with this person again, suddenly you're like, I'm a little more open to this. Maybe this is something that I could explore, or thank you for bringing it up again, because now it feels right to me. And that's okay, because I want to remind us that we're not the same people that we were just a few minutes ago even, but a couple of days ago or a week ago, because life has a way of continuing to reveal things about ourselves, about situations, and we meet them based on where we're currently at. And I think that's why it's really important that as we continue through the week, that we are able to meet each other and ourselves exactly where we're at, with great compassion, great self-acceptance. We're all perfectly imperfect. We're doing the best we can with the situations as they are. So when things are bubbling up, whether it's anger, whether it's fear, whether it's loneliness, maybe it's joy, maybe it's excitement, maybe, you love this time of being alone, whatever it might be, there's nothing wrong with it. It's where you're at. It's where we're at. This last week, there was one day where it felt like I was in this real in-between space. In the Buddhist tradition, it's called a bardo. And here I am, it felt like no matter what I did, I was in this goo, this holding pattern, if you will. And so I just relaxed into it, and nothing I did necessarily made me feel better or changed it. However, the next day I woke up, it was fine. I didn't feel that way anymore. So continuing to watch the rhythms and the pulses that life is bringing to us, and how we show up and how we respond, and what does it tell you about yourself? Because one of the things that is really important, and anybody who has a coaching session with me understands this, I am going to help you bump up against your edge. I'm going to present a question, or I'm going to give you some sort of intuitive information about yourself that is going to make you a little uncomfortable, or it may make you think and scramble the mental model that you once held. And the reason that this is important is that it's a real litmus test as far as, am I ready to go deeper? Not am I ready to expand and grow and all that, because that is part of it. But right now we're going deeper into ourselves, deeper into our practices, deeper into life. And so my job is to navigate, to walk with you, to start bumping up against those edges that we all have without tipping over and falling off of a cliff. And so in doing so, we're going to meet it with a little maybe fear or sadness or trepidation or resistance, whatever it might be. And that's good. So that's why I say, when these difficult emotions or times come up, try not to judge it as a bad thing. See it as, oh, this is a signal that there's something inside of me that's trying to grow, that's inviting a greater sense of self-awareness. And with that greater sense of self-awareness, we're able to meet the external world in a different way because our internal world starts to make greater sense. So that's what I feel we're going to be working with this week in particular. And we're going to have a moment, I mentioned bumping up against our edge. We're going to have a moment on the 13th that there is going to be, the sun is going to square off to Pluto. And when that happens, that may feel, and that's on Monday, and the moon is also going to be in Capricorn, so it's going to be squaring off with the sun. And that may create this dynamic tension for us to really harness our power, that when we're bumping up against that edge and it's really uncomfortable, that we go, wait a minute, where do I have my superpower? Where do I have that deep will inside of me that can rise up, can stand up for what I believe, for my values, not stand up against something, but what I really value, and to say, this is how I can contribute. This is the things that I can do, because the sun in Aries has that independent spirit. These are the things that I'm ready to do. We're in cardinal signs right at that time. And I want to be able to express my purpose, my sense of identity in myself in a way that can lead others to follow. One of the other things that will be coming up for us this week as we're constantly being tested and tried is that we have to remind ourselves that we really can't relate or teach or meet others in their place, often if we haven't experienced it ourselves. So if you're feeling that fear, you're feeling that worry and anxiety or that sense of powerlessness for a moment, and then you find that power, or you find that hope, or you find that place within you that says, I can rise up and do this, guess what? You're most likely going to meet somebody who is going through that, who's working through that kind of stuff. And you get to say, I've been there. I know what it's like. Let's do this together. There's nothing better than walking through fire with another human being. It's so much better together. So we're going to continue to use that kind of energy, especially as we have Mars and Saturn in Aquarius. And it is this, we're in this together, and we're going to innovate the way that we do things. We're going to find, that these fears that we've been facing, they were just illusions. That the fear can bring up this super heightened moment where our intuition comes into a single point of focus. And we can go, yeah, right there. That's what I can offer. That's what I can do. Let's go. And it's going to be a benefit, not just to myself, but to others as well. And let's not forget that we have Uranus in Taurus still. So when these sudden flashes come up and these sudden insights happen, these ahas, if you will, they're going to be at just the right time. Trust that. Because as Mercury is making its movement through Aries, it will be canoodling with Chiron. And that happens on the 14th, 15th this week. So right after we have that powerful square with the sun and Pluto and the moon, we're going to have Mercury and Chiron canoodling together. And there's great healing that can take place. And that our words and standing up for what we need to fight for can actually provide healing. We can become these spiritual warriors with our words, with our thoughts, with the way that we communicate or connect with others. That's all very mercurial. So I offer this to you that this week we start practicing really checking in. How are my words creating healing? And what conversations do I need to have? How do I stand up for my values with integrity? And how do I share this, what I've experienced and what I've learned, with someone else who may need a partner in this fight, if you will, against ignorance? Let's educate ourselves. Let's be in a space where we can gather information and share the right information with integrity. Let's not get caught up in all the fodder and conspiracy theories and all of this. Because guys, I can tell you the greatest fear that I'm hearing right now is people are afraid of what they don't know. And I'm going to say this in a practical way. We're never going to know every single detail. We're not going to know everything that's happening behind the scenes at all times. It's not possible. That's not the way that this 3D reality operates. There's this thing called the great mystery, the unknown, that we constantly deep dive to try and understand, but there's always going to be something running in the background that we're going to miss because we are finite in this human form. So to try and conceptualize or to get to this unlimited, infinite information, you're going to drive yourself crazy. So I'm going to bring us back to this moment to say, meet the moment. What you know right now. And you're not faulted for what you don't know. So if there's a question, if there's something that is burning inside of you and information that you're just jonesing to get, go for it. Go search for it. Go educate yourself on it. But at the end of the day, when life calls to us, it's our responsibility to turn fully, to gather every piece of us, all of our energy, and to meet it right there in that present moment. Okay, you guys, I hope you know how much I adore you, how much I'm grateful for you, and that I'm here for you. You can find me at jamiedawn.com once you listen, and I look forward to continuing to share these videos and hopefully encouraging you and interacting with you. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, and I look forward to the next time that we speak. Okay, you guys, have a great week.